I just went to Poland, and when I was there, well, not just, it was before Ukraine, but when I was there, I had this big, show, and there was a translator, and in the audience, a really, really old man, like 80, looked like Nikita Khrushchev, like the cliche of an old communist. And he said, I lived here when it was communist, and I saw a illegal print of Crybaby. And when I saw Willem Dafoe slap Johnny Depp on the ass, I knew I was gay. And the audience went crazy. And it was the last thing I expected he was going to say.
Right.
So I think humor is the way that you sneak everything. Hairspray is a movie that is my most devious movie because it snuck in. It was a Trojan horse. It's now performed in grade schools around the world with two men singing a love song to each other. Interracial dating is certainly encouraged. So it was the Trojan horse. I said, even racist like Hairspray. So that was the most devious thing I could do, is sneak in. Everybody said you're an outsider. I said, I used to be, but now everybody thinks they're an outsider. I believe both Trump and Obama would describe themselves as outsiders. So I want to be an insider and get in there and really fuck it up.
I could just hop right into it. Tell me a bit about False Negative. What should one expect from an evening with John Waters?
Well, I've been doing spoken word shows for 40 years, but this one is completely rewritten after COVID because the one that I did before was called This Filthy World. And This Filthy World has radically changed, and so everything's different now. Humor is different. But I address many of the same subjects, but in a completely different way, which is crime, fashion, movies, love, politics, everything you could talk about. It's a 70-minute monologue that's completely written, memorized, and 20 minutes of questions. And I don't know if we're having a book signing here or not, to be honest. I don't have those notes in front of me. I have a brand new book out, so sometimes it's included in that, and I hope it is.
I've talked with people about this event and about your work, students here at Western, and a lot of people know Hairspray. That's they're familiar with that, but a lot of people aren't familiar with Pink Flamingos. And they're both.
They might have a rude awakening because Pink Flamingos is even more nuts than it ever was. Even though it got picked this year of the National Registry by the government as being a historic American movie, which is pretty amazing. I have never won an obscenity case in my life, even though the Museum of Modern Art bought a print of it. It has played in the top art theaters all over the world. So it's finally going to be legal in London for the first time ever, uncut, which has never happened before. So I think the world has caught up to Pink Flamingos to realize that you can be joyously filthy and be funny. And I don't think Pink Flamingos ever hurt a soul. People come over to me a lot and say that it saved their life and it made them realize it was okay to be weird and it got them through high school. So I never thought, and people now tell me their parents gave it to them. When I was young, their parents called the police. So it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it just interests me because people might be walking into this not knowing anything about Pink Flamingos, and with sort of an unassuming title for the kind of movie it is. And just, do you have any?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of exercise in poor taste. And I tell you, I've just been on a book tour in America, and the audiences for the signing is the youngest I've ever seen them. So I'm not so sure all young people are not as familiar as you think, because most of the people that I signed books for, a lot of them weren't even born when I made my last movie, much less Pink Flamingos. So they continue to be shown. They continue to be known. And you're right, Hairspray has been seen by lots of people. Crybaby has been seen. Both of them became musicals. Their life of spreading the infection of joyous lunacy has continued ever since they came out, weirdly.
Let's jump to your new book, Liarmouth, and the subtitle of Liarmouth is A Feel-Bad Romance. Can you tell me a little bit about how that subtitle relates to the plot and
I'm saying that you can always make fun of the rules if you make fun of yourself first. And by saying a feel-bad romance, I'm making fun of the idea. I'm even writing a novel. I'm making fun of narrative. So much stuff happens in this book. Nobody could have that much happen in their life. I'm parodying kind of sex writing, alliteration, writing itself. And at the same time, I'm a big reader of novels. I love it. I've written 15, 16 movies. They're all fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a book called Carsick where I hitchhiked across America by myself when I was 66. And in that book, the first 2/3 of the book are me imagining fictitiously the worst rides that could happen to me, and then the best rides that could happen to me, and then I do it for real.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in that fiction, so this is much harder to write a book where you are none of the characters, but actually you're all of them because you're in the mind of every character.
So what kind of sparked your interest in writing this kind of book? When did you start?
Well, it's about a woman that steals suitcases in airports. So they say, write what you know. I'm in airports constantly. So I started imagining that happening because they don't check the tags on your luggage anymore. Mm-hmm. They used to when I was young. They don't do that anywhere in the world now. So it is right for luggage theft. You just say, oh, I thought it was the same one. Yeah. And Marcia has a fake chauffeur with her, so it's even more believable. The problem is the chauffeur, his salary is that he only gets to have sex with her once a year. But as she puts it, she's no man's used-up calendar, and she's going to ditch him that day. But they get caught, and then the book begins really to go crazy when everybody's trying to get to different places and kill one another, and it ends in a ludicrously sexual minority celebration in Provincetown.
So you've talked about how you're a strong supporter of free speech. We've seen
of what?
Of free speech. Sorry.
Yep.
And we've seen some elements of American politics or conservative movements that have expressed support for people like Vladimir Putin or Viktor Orban of Hungary, and they're famous in their countries for suppressing what they call quote unquote LGBT propaganda. And we've also seen film studios self-censor LGBTQ representation to make films more palatable for audiences in China, for example. So as someone who has a history of being an LGBTQ rights advocate and a filmmaker, are you concerned that writers, storytellers, directors are being kind of pressured to avoid representing those?
Well, I think in a way that when people try to censor you these days, it can really help the movie. I mean, the best thing that could happen to Loudmouth is if it got banned in Florida. Because then everybody fights back on it. Anita Bryant tried to be against gay people, and it ruined her career in the long run. So to me, I like to go to. I just went to Poland, and when I was there, well, not just, it was before Ukraine, but when I was there, I had this big, show, and there was a translator, and in the audience, a really, really old man, like 80, looked like Nikita Khrushchev, like the cliche of an old communist. And he said, I lived here when it was communist, and I saw illegal print of Crybaby. And when I saw Willem Dafoe slap Johnny Depp on the ass, I knew I was gay. And the audience went crazy. And it was the last thing I expected he was going to say.
Right.
So I think humor is the way that you sneak everything. Hairspray is a movie that is my most devious movie because it snuck in. It was a Trojan horse. It's now performed in grade schools around the world with two men singing a love song to each other. Interracial dating is certainly encouraged. So it was the Trojan horse. I said, even racist like Hairspray. So that was the most devious thing I could do, is sneak in. Everybody said you're an outsider. I said, I used to be, but now everybody thinks they're an outsider. I believe both Trump and Obama would describe themselves as outsiders. So I want to be an insider and get in there and really fuck it up.
So switching gears a little bit, what in 2022, what new movies have you seen? And if you had to pick your favorite movie, either that's come out in 2022 or that you've seen for the first time this year, what would it be? Or maybe a short list.
Well, this year, my 10 best list is an art forum every year. So my last year, Annette was my favorite movie. I loved Summer of Soul a lot. This year, I'm trying to think my favorite movie. I don't know yet because it's too early in the year. But I generally love feel-bad foreign movies. I'm a big fan of Gaspar Noé's new movie, which is about dying. I'm a big fan of French movies. So I like movies that really torture you and make you because I feel good anyway. I don't expect a movie to make me happy. I want a movie to disturb me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that Annette is the movie I liked a lot recently, but that's not that recent. And the new ones, I'm just beginning to see them all, and I don't want to give it away because that's on my 10 best list coming up. So I have to be careful. They don't want me to reveal what I like.
Fair enough.
I would say if you were going to see a movie that's out right now, would be Gaspar Noé's new movie, which is about dying. And I'm trying to think the title of it because I saw it a long time ago before it was released in America, but it is playing here now. That's the movie I'd go see.
All right, just a couple of more quick questions. So, recently, I kind of serendipitously spotted you in an episode of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I love that show.
Right.
What was the experience like acting on that show, but also acting, during COVID with everything kind of put on pause or, in a modified...
Well, I did
production.
Law and Order, too. I played a pornographer. I was in Search Party. So I did a lot of the acting. And I always try to be in big-budget, popular things you'd never expect me to be. And I always say no to independent films because that's what people expect. It was... You get tested every day. You can't leave your apartment. You get tested on the set. You have to wear a mask. When you get off the train, they tested you. So it was kind of amazing, but they treated me very, very well. And Miss Maisel, great. It's just a scene of me sitting with her on a park bench talking.
Mm-hmm.
But behind us were 30 vintage cars, buses driving by, extras in period costume. It was like being in a big budget Hollywood movie, which was fun. And she was lovely and wonderful. Mm-hmm. And same with everybody on Law and Order. I was on Blacklist. I've been on a lot of shows. I like to be on the other side of the camera more, but I always have backup plans. I like even SAG Screen Actors Guild pays my insurance now. I've done so much acting. So I think I enjoy that too because I like to surprise people. I was in the Alvin the Chipmunk movie. Believe me, parents didn't expect to see me in that.
Yes, just two more quick ones for you. So after, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but after this book tour and after the stand-up show runs its course, what's next for you? What's next for John Waters?
The main thing is a movie project that might happen that I can't talk about, so we'll see. And then I do the Burger Boogaloo, it's called now Mosswood Madness, which is the big punk rock festival I host every summer in Oakland around July 4th. I have the John Waters Summer Camp, which is in the 5th year in Connecticut in the fall. I have a 20-city Christmas tour. I'm doing my False Negative, the same show I'm doing in your town. I'm doing it in Barcelona. I'm doing it in Madrid and London, a big theater that's coming up. So I'm busier than I've ever been. So I'm on the road and, have pen, we'll talk.
John Waters, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and I hope to see you there.
All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.